Welcome back, everyone, to episode 147 of Puppet Masters and Castle Freaks, the internet's leading all things Charles Band podcast. I am one of your hosts, washed up minor leaguer and downtrodden cuck, Jared Hornbeck. And I am coming to you, of course, from the slick, sleazy streets of Brooklyn, New York. But no, I am not the only one who is occupying this taxi cab. No, who else is here with me?
Well, it's me, Steve Gutley, and I like it like that, baby. I'm totally crazed. That's my best host, Spinnel. This is the podcast about jerk-off cabbies, Jumbo's Clown Room, and butthole stabbings. That's because this is the podcast about Walking the Edge, a mid-'80s crime exploitation thriller starring the incomparable B-movie legend Robert Forster. Very excited to talk about it, a movie I knew nothing about going into this, and what a wild time this was. And we're very excited because we have a cool guest joining us today, as usual. Who is here with us today?
Well, of course. I mean, you can't pull out a movie like Walking the Edge and expect us to just try and tackle this one between just the two of us. So, in order to take this sleazy movie and maybe class it up a little bit, we went and got the, Brooklyn's own spooky sommelier, the person who is in charge of and I guess the creator of the Terror Terroir. Did I say that correctly? I think I put a nice French accent on that. Wine pairing film screening in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, which is awesome. It's Caroline Johnson, who, like I said, is Brooklyn spooky sommelier. So thank you for taking your time away from your very busy schedule with these, debutante screenings and such to sleaze it up with us for this movie. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm going to put you on the spot a tiny bit just because as of this recording, my birthday's coming up. We're going to celebrate. And I think we need to pair a wine with one of my very favorite movies, Tremors. Now, what would you recommend for something earthy, I imagine?
Yeah. Earthy. Okay, Tremors. Wow, that you really are putting me on the spot.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't actually need to answer that. I was just
I should be able to do this. This is what I do. Let's circle back to that.
You are
come back to that
certified.
We're going to end with my Tremors pairing.
Something with Tremors.
We will come back.
No, I am, but I don't always have it right off the dome. Tremors is a challenge.
That's a challenge, right? Yeah, because it's not a super heavy movie. It's a light and frothy movie that just has some,
Yeah, I mean, I know we're going to want to do a red. I feel like
definitely a red.
I have it. Okay.
Oh,
I think you're going to want to do a Santa Barbara Syrah is what I'm feeling for Tremors.
I'm going to write this down.
Yeah,
Santa Barbara
really
Syrah.
Good. So it's good. You have a winter birthday that's like kind of a nice wine for the season. A little earthy, but it's like very giving, very fun.
I mean,
like movie Tremors.
That whole region, right?
That
whole region is like Napa Valley, Sonoma, Paso Robles, Perfection, California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, Santa Barbara Syrah is my answer to the Napa cab is so priced out.
Oh yeah.
The Santa Barbara Syrah is like the full-bodied California wine that is where it's at, and the price point is really good.
This is genuinely incredible. I wasn't even actually expecting you to do that, and that's so grateful to you for doing that. I'm curious how you discovered this niche of yours. How did you discover? How did you come up with this idea of pairing wines with horror movies?
Well, I haven't always been into wine. Mm-hmm. As a child, I was more into got into horror earlier than I got
I would say you
wine.
did that in the right order. You did that in the right order.
That would be really interesting. But I just sort of intuited as these being two things that I was very interested in. I've been a horror fan from way back, and I have always been very interested in wine, from legal drinking age on. And during the pandemic, I decided to pursue a little bit of formal education in the subject, and I got my sommelier certification. And I just sort of thought intuitively that horror movies and wine go together really nicely. I'm not a big snacker, so whenever I'm watching a horror movie at home, I'm usually opening a bottle of wine to pair with it. And it's proven to be a very popular formula for the screenings that I host. So that's
Yeah,
just
I'm super
incredible.
interested in hearing like what the thought process also of what goes into certain pairings, because it's like I just think of
yeah.
movies because horror is runs a gamut of like subgenres, and there's so many different, just like, you know, all the varietals are so different as well. I'm like so fascinated to think like, okay, well, what is something you would pair with like a modern horror movie? What's something it wouldn't be as simple as like New World, Old World or something like that. Obviously a lot more would go into it, but like,
Well, yeah, sometimes it can be a longer walk, and whenever I host my screenings, I always do. The movie's always a secret until everyone's seated
Mm-hmm.
for the film, and I do an introduction. And I explain I explain, you know, what wine we've been tasting earlier in the evening and how it relates to the film we're about to watch and what that film is going to be. And people always are trying to guess, you know, as soon as they show up, they're trying to guess, which is fun. Mostly they never, it's very rare in the history of the series that anyone's guessed correctly. But I can go through a few that I've done with you
sure.
just to give you an example, to tie into the Charles Band universe. One of the best screenings I've ever hosted was Dolls.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So I paired Dolls with a Syrah from the Rhone Valley, called Petite Ours, which means little bear. So you can kind of
That's
imagine
great.
where that one went, where
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
production went. So that
that's
one
like
went,
also thematically to both the flavor and to kind of the brand of it too, because we have
yeah,
little
yeah. I
bears,
mean,
we have little
the
dolls. Yeah.
pairing, right? The pairings can, you know, they come from anywhere. They can be like, you know, they can be regional. They can be just sort of like loosely themed. They can, you know, like I say, sometimes it can be a much longer walk. But as long as it feels right to me, as long as I can make sense of it in my mind, and it doesn't feel like too much of a reach to me, then I go with it.
Now, I'm like 1000% on board with this. This is such a cool idea. And I wish I lived in New York so I could
Well,
attend these
next time you're in
screenings, 'cause,
town, let me
yeah,
know.
that definitely sounds amazing. Now, I'm curious too, because this sounds kind of like a highbrow pursuit, right? You know, we're pairing wines with film is like kind of a higher brow pursuit. What made you want to talk about this decidedly lowbrow, down and dirty, kind of grimy exploitation film?
I was going to say, Steve, I was like, what do you pair with this? Like a can of Schlitz?
Yeah, I think this is just like
we can get
being
to that
drunk out of
because
a can.
I have thought about what to pair with this.
Okay, all right.
I mean, there's a bottle of wine in this movie.
I mean, there's got to be an.
We'll get to
evidence.
it. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but
I feel like my initial reaction is just like you're drinking like something out of a brown paper bag. You know, that's the kind of vibe of this movie. This is like grimy, crime-ridden early '80s LA. Lots of nasty customers.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm high and low. You know, I love a sleazy revenger, a sleazy urban revenger, and that's exactly what this movie is. I love exploitation films. I love full moon films.
Yeah.
Which we're talking about a pickup today, so we're not going full moon on this episode, but
that's okay.
We
just easily could. I would have loved to have talked to you about Shrunken Heads too.
Oh man, yeah. We'd had that.
Have you
one
ever
a while.
done? Okay.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
We did that with Grady Hendrix, who was an amazing guest on that.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
That was still to this day one of the wildest movies we've seen on this show. Like
incredible,
completely.
Don't you
knocked
love
the legs out
Meg Foster as the lesbian mom?
Big Mo.
My God. And just, you know, nothing more fun in a Goonies style adventure than watching your three preteen heroes gunned down in the middle of the film and decapitated. Oh, wow, movie.
Yeah, that one.
Then they clean up the city.
They do effectively. You know,
spoiler
they're doing
alert.
a better
So
job
sorry,
than
everyone.
the mayor.
Exactly.
Well, I'm always thrilled to get this kind of movie on the docket because, like you, Caroline, I'm a huge fan of exploitation movies and a huge fan of these revengers. Like, I had a ball when we stretched the umbrella of what's acceptable for this show when we when we put together a double feature that included the Linda Blair movie Savage Streets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great movie.
Because I just wanted an excuse to talk about Savage Streets. We were
Yeah.
covering Savage Island, which is not even really a movie. And
It's
it was like, we
barely
need some
anything,
meat on these bones. Like,
Okay,
what
so it
can
was a
we do
Savage
here?
double feature.
It was a Savage
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair double feature.
Okay. Oh,
But one
she's
of
in
them is
Savage Island too.
barely a movie. And so it was like, what can we do to have more to talk about and have this be more substance? So we added Savage Streets to it. And I love that because, like, for me, there's something about an urban setting, be it 70s or 80s New York, 70s or 80s LA, I guess maybe Chicago too, although I think there are fewer movies set there. But it's just like all these movies that I discovered probably a little too young that I have such an affinity for. Like, this movie would be a great double feature. I mean, not only because it shares two of its stars, but it's just like a natural progression from Bill Lustig's Vigilante.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kept thinking about that one a lot in this movie.
Yeah, or Abel Ferrara's Fear City, or Vice Squad.
Oh, I love Vice Squad.
Yeah,
So
or if we
good.
want to go like higher brow with it, like To Live and Die on LA or something like that. Like, it's a good, I just love, I love a grimy urban revenge thriller, and that's exactly what we're getting here. Let's learn a little bit about Walking the Edge, which was released January 11th, 1985. It's directed by Norbert Maisel. It's written by Kurt Allen, and it stars Robert Forster, Nancy Kwan, Joe Spinnel, A. Martinez, James McIntyre, Wayne Woodson, Luis Contreras, and Russ Courtney. Now, I really could not find too much on the production of this movie. There wasn't a whole lot really to say about that, but that's okay because we have a handful of luminaries to talk about for the first time. First and foremost, of course, we have Norbert Maisel, the Viennese filmmaker who directed a handful of trashy programmers throughout the 70s and 80s, including movies like The Adulteress, Dreams of Desire, Night Children. He often worked alongside his wife, Nancy Kwan, who he has been married to since 1976. They are both still alive and still married to this day. Now,
Love
Nancy
that.
Kwan, very, very interesting figure in cinematic history. Born in British Hong Kong, her family fled to England and then America during World War II. And you could make a very real argument that Nancy Kwan is kind of the first like Asian movie star, like the first like mainstream Asian movie star to really kind of cross over.
Well, Steve, can I interrupt you? Do you remember her commercials?
No, I don't.
She used to do in like the late 80s. She was the face of like Pearl face cream commercials.
Oh, I don't remember that
She used
at all.
to come on the commercials and be like, "I'm Nancy Kwan. Here's my cream for my face."
She
Like,
also was iconic for her her haircut.
She had like the early version of the Rachel. She had
it was like a chic sort of Vidal Sassoon bob.
Exactly. Yeah, you go into the salon and you say, "Give me a Kwan," and like that's a specific. That's like going to say, "Give me a Rachel." No, I'm like not even joking. That's what you would say. A lot of this was because her big film debut, which was 1960's The World of Susie Wong, where she played the title character. That became the surprise box office hit. And now there's this like gorgeous young woman who is becoming this fashion icon. She follows it up with the Flower Drum Song, which is an adaptation of a Rodgers and Hammerstein film. That also does pretty well. And then unfortunately, it kind of dropped off for her. I think Hollywood has I can't even begin to crack the problem that Hollywood has with Asian actors, a problem that persists to this day. There still seems to be this perception that Asian people can't be movie stars unless they are doing like martial arts films. And it's really offensive and really stupid. But there was this brief period in the early 60s where we're like, all right, yeah, let's give some more Asian people a try. And it lasted about until, it's kind of the same thing. Like, it'll work until you get your first bomb and then you're in movie jail forever. And that's kind of what happened to Nancy Kwan. She wound up having to take smaller and smaller roles or less and less dignified roles, more stereotypical Asian characters. Eventually in the 1970s, she meets Norbert Maisel and they start writing and directing their own films together. And they kind of continued working on it through the rest of their lives. Walking the Edge is probably their best known effort, but that's mostly among, freaks like us who follow these kind of movies. A lot of their stuff didn't really cross over, but Nancy Kwan continued to work like all throughout the 80s. I think she fully retired in the early 2000s, but still alive, still kicking, and she and Norbert Maisel are still married to this day. So it's very cool.
Yeah, and also noteworthy, she was in The Wrecking Crew with Sharon Tate.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
That's right. The movie, I believe that's the movie they're watching in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the film she made right before Sharon Tate
That's
died.
the one with Dean Martin also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's what's the character's name? Matt
something.
Matt Danger or something like that. I'm forgetting what it is, but yeah.
Something. It's not that, but it's something like that.
It's something like that. Yeah. Now, shockingly, given our proclivities, given Jared's proclivities in particular, it is shocking that Joe Spinnell has not come into this show
I
in a
could not
proper way
wait to say
until
this.
now.
Really?
I think you're more experienced with Spinnell.
I mean,
you're more of a
it's
Spinnell
not like
head.
he's in a lot of full moon.
No,
or any at all.
no.
This I guess it makes sense, but
this is the only time I
he's
think
just
we're going to
so-
talk
he's
about
such
him
a
in an
figure.
official capacity.
Yeah,
And
I kept having that thought watching it, being like, I cannot believe. I mean, we may have brought him up. I mean, you can't have a conversation with Heather Buckley without her talking about Joe
Right.
Spinnell.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he probably came up in conversation somewhere. But we did not. Yeah, he hasn't been in anything that we've covered proper to this point. And I mean, such a prominent figure in so many of these films at the time. I mean, not just Maniac. I mean, obviously he has a lot of like Academy Award caliber stuff. I mean, he's in The Godfather, he's in The Godfather 2, he's in Taxi Driver,
Rocky, Sorcerer.
he's
Yeah,
in Rocky.
He runs the
Sorcerer.
gamut on the 70s.
He loves to reuse his line of dialogue, which I assume was ad-libbed in Taxi Driver, where he tells someone to take it on the arches.
Oh,
says
yeah,
again in
that's
this
right.
movie.
That was him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his kind of go-to line when they give him any freedom to improvise.
It's a great line. It's genuinely, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love Joe Spinnell. I mean, he's so distinct. He always looks like a half melted candle.
Yeah.
I had in my notes a stack of potatoes. This man is just a stack of mashed potatoes with a mustache.
Well, you know what's crazy?
Any ladies listening, I mean, we love him.
Rockers,
well,
I'm imagining like a teen
did.
beat in your childhood with Joe Spinnell on the cover.
I heard
Heartthrobs of Scorsese.
Straight from the mouth of William Lustig. I went to a screening of Vigilante a couple of years ago, and strangely enough, one of the oddest experiences of my life was the movie broke, and they could not get the movie fixed. And so he was there for a Q&A, and we got about 30 minutes into the movie. We couldn't fix it. They were like, we don't know what to do. They ended up canceling the movie. I think they refunded people. And William Lustig just sat there and said, all right, well, we'll turn this into an hour of Q&A.
Good dude.
And he told a lot of stories about Joe Spinnell. And that was one of the things that he said, like he worked with him a number of times and obviously was a good person to work with and a good guy to direct. But he said he never understood it. But William Lustig said that Joe Spinnell just pulled tens all the time. Women were around him 24/7. Like,
some people just have like that kind of sleazy charisma, you know. He was always very much himself, and he was he died just a few years after this movie. He didn't live to be very old. He was only 59 when he died, which makes him,
I don't even think, was he that old? I don't even think
maybe
he made
even
it to, I think he was in his 40s.
It might have been 49. So yeah,
he just looked 59.
Yeah, imagine that, folks. You can't see any of us, but like Joe Spinnell was about our age back then, and he looks like he's 85 years old. I mean, he was just a man who was in very poor health. He lived the 70s very hard. And he, like we said, Maniac in 1980 kind of made him a minor horror icon. That was like, it's still kind of like a solidly a cult movie, but it's a movie that's endured for years, I think.
Caroline Munro loved him apparently because and that's what makes her courtship with him in Maniac believable.
They have very real chemistry in that film. They do.
And then in the last horror film also, which is the two of them again.
Yeah. Yeah. They're electric together on screen.
Yeah, I mean, he was a fascinating guy. It's a shame we didn't get to have like the crotchety old man character actor version of Joe Spinnell that we know was in him and would have been remarkable. But y'all take care of your health, take care of each other. Joe was not in great health. You could see in this movie he just was not really doing it. But of course, the lead here is consummate New York tough guy, legendary actor Robert Forster. He made his big breakout in 1968's Haskell Wexler film Medium Cool, which was a small but pretty important movie in the early independent film scene. And he was seen as like this very serious and important young actor all the way through probably the early 70s. But he hit a bit of a slump in the late 70s to early 80s, and he kind of just started taking any role, so some of them were good, some of them were bad. He worked all the time. I think he's kind of one of those guys who's always good. He's got a shtick that he does, but he's like always good at what he does. But some of these were not really of his caliber, like Alligator is a really fun one. Like this one, I think
love Alligator.
Yeah, so good.
Vigilante is a good showcase, but he's got like a lot of sort of supporting roles in like low rent crap, which was a real bummer. But he's very amiable, he's very hardworking, and he still had his fans, including David Lynch, who cast him in multiple projects, and Quentin Tarantino, who in 1997, he plucked Forster out of relative obscurity to play kind of the co-lead of Jackie Brown, which was Tarantino's hugely anticipated follow-up to Pulp Fiction. Tarantino could not have been hotter at this moment, and he chooses to as his leads for his next movie, Robert Forster and Pam Grier. Fucking cool move, I still think. I think that movie incredible. I think a lot of people have kind of come to see it as maybe Tarantino's best film, which I think there's a real argument for. Yeah. And he's just magnificent in that. He and Pam Grier are both so wounded and like worldly, and still like you could see them both being so cagey and like not wanting to be vulnerable with each other, and like being just really honest and kind of direct and decent. And it's just a cool ass performance. It got Robert Forster an Oscar nomination, which is a really cool thing that he gets to have onto his resume. And it gave him this kind of like big second act of his career. He was in Mulholland Drive. He was in a whole bunch of TV shows. I think he won an Emmy for like one episode of Breaking Bad, which he's incredible on. Like, yeah,
right towards the end.
Yeah, he's the disappearer who.
That's right. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, I think he's in like the penultimate episode or the third to last episode, and just that one, I think.
And then he recurs in Better Call Saul, and like I think El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie, was the last thing that he ever did.
Yes, and it came out on the day of his death.
Yeah, he died.
Kidding.
He died in 2019. Yeah, age of 78. But yeah. He's a really unique and cool figure, and I'm glad we finally got to talk about him a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't have like the deepest history with like early Robert Forster films. I haven't seen that many of like his early stuff, but I've seen him pop up a lot. He's phenomenal in the third season of Twin Peaks as the new sheriff, and like he just does amazing work. And I think he is elevating this insane movie to such a degree. Like
he's great.
We're coming to this movie as, all right, it's a exploitation revenge thriller in 1985. All right. It's shot like probably around 83, maybe 82.
I think it was shot I think according to Empire of the Bees, it was shot in late 82 and then was shelved for almost 2.5 years.
Because aesthetically, it feels very like turn of the 70s.
Yes.
It does not feel like 1985.
It's something I always think about. I forget who it was some costume designer that said, if you want to design a period film, you don't look for like high fashion in 1995. You look at what people were wearing in 1989. Right. And then you said it there, because that was true. Like most of us were wearing the fashions from a few years ago. The 80s kind of took a while. I would say, like we've talked about this on another podcast, but like I would say 1985 is kind of when we are firmly like, this is what you think of as the 80s. Because the neons, the leg warmers. Yeah.
For me is like, that's Back to the Future.
Yeah.
That's Dire Straits, Money for Nothing video.
Right.
MTV's like in full swing. Yeah.
That's as 80s as you can get. I would say it probably, for me, it really 83 into 84. I think the influence of Flashdance is what sort of informs what the 80s would then become.
Yeah, the MTV aesthetic.
Totally. And that was, because Flashdance is a feature-length music video, essentially. It looks like it feels like it has the energy, and it has kind of, if I'm being honest, the depth of the average music video. Yeah. But it's so distinctive, and it's like, okay, this is what like for what Saturday Night Fever did for the 70s, this is what the 80s looks like now. And so everything was kind of drafting off of that, which is to say that when this movie comes out, it still very much looks like it's drafting off of Saturday Night Fever, right? This is
for sure.
The way too tight shirts on the men, the kind of floppy, shaggy hair, like the cars, the real boxy cars, like everything just kind of looking like it has a layer of film over it, you know?
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of like early 80s, like New York movies, right? Which really kind of show New York as like this sleazy crime pit, you know, like the real early Times Square days when things were like pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah.
We don't get to see that side of LA as much for whatever reason, but like this movie is really like kind of grimy early LA.
The LA setting here is kind of unique, and the fact that he's a cabbie in LA.
Yeah.
A cabbie / numbers runner / former AAA baseball pitcher.
He's got a lot going on. Yeah.
Could have been the right-handed Sandy Koufax.
Yeah. I mean, I was immediately thinking of Michael Mann's Collateral when I was watching this. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, I would not be surprised if Michael Mann's drafting a little bit off of this, because that's similarly about a cabbie in LA who is enlisted into a mission against his will and gets kind of like caught up in this whole web of crime and intrigue. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Collateral's a little better. Maybe executes the vision just a tiny bit better than Walking the Edge does, but you know.
Well, you know what I was thinking when I was watching the beginning of this movie was the opening credits reminded me of a movie that I don't think is particularly good, but I love the LA aesthetic of the beginning, which is New Year's Evil.
New Year's Evil, absolutely.
Oh yeah. That is like a really good bad movie.
It is. Yeah, that's a fun one.
Someone asked me recently what I thought was a movie that was sort of ripe for a remake. And I said New Year's Evil.
I think I
said it's a cool concept. It's just, you know.
It wasn't done perfectly the first time around. Someone could really like do something with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the opening of this movie because it plunges you right in to the story. You don't realize that you're following Mr. H. Mr. H home from the office to where a home invasion is in progress.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that Sunset Drive with the Jay Chataway score when like the saxophone kicks in. It's just it's so cool.
And Jay Chataway did the music for Vigilante also.
And Maniac.
Maniac,
yeah.
No, the music is great.
Does a lot of like Star Trek later on, and like just a really fun kind of early 80s synth jazz score, which I always respond to. Like it always just locks you right in time. And this opens in this very like this is where you're really feeling the age of this movie compared to 1985, because this is pulling from the Death Wish movement, right? You know, Death Wish was this kind of surprising hit, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, we've got these kind of aging leading men, let's give them a second life as like these crazed in these sort of hyper conservative like vigilante fantasy movies, you know.
Let's just pick up Robert Ginty and dust him off.
Exactly. And by 1985, like what Death Wish is like kind of on the steep decline. That's like Death Wish 3
no, sir.
4,
I'm
or is
sorry.
it still going?
No, Death Wish 3, which may be the greatest movie ever made, came out in 1985.
Oh, it did come out that year. Okay, I wasn't sure if
I haven't seen Death Wish 3. Is that one? Is it still Michael Winner?
It is Michael Winner.
Okay. I mean,
for whatever descriptors and superlatives we'll throw around about this movie, whether they're good or bad, I will say you could tell immediately this is not a Michael Winner movie because no one is getting raped.
Yeah, you mentioned once, and I have not seen any of the Death Wish movies. That's still a big gap for me. But you mentioned once to me, Jared, that Death Wish 2 is quote unquote an evil film. Like I think you used that exact words, saying that movie is like vile.
I have seen Death Wish 2. Yeah,
it is a gross movie, and it's because I feel like Michael Winner is kind of getting off on the fact that he's torturing these people in the movie, and which is what the first Death Wish movie I think came at a time when it was like Brian Garfield's book. You know, the themes of the book are a little more clear. That like Paul Kersey does not feel necessarily like he's doing the right thing. The book doesn't treat him like he's doing the right thing. I think that was kind of lost a little bit when the film was made. I think it's a pretty good movie, the first movie, but I think it's very easy to have people watch that movie and take the wrong message away from it, especially when you then look at the way Michael Winner would make the next two sequels that he made. Death Wish 3 is a cartoon. That's why I don't hate it as much, because everything is so silly. I mean, he's literally just blowing up gangs with like a bazooka at that point. Yeah. Death Wish 4 is made by J. Lee Thompson.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and he, because of that, it's actually probably the second best movie in the franchise after the first one, because it reminds me, it's less of like this unpleasant. Death Wish 2 is such an unpleasant movie, and Death Wish 3 would be if it was more serious in tone. It's just so over the top and cartoony. But it reminds, like, J. Lee Thompson worked with Charles Bronson on another incredible sleazer, 10 to Midnight.
Oh,
10 to Midnight.
That's a great movie. I love that movie.
I thought of
the
10
naked
to Midnight.
serial killer is iconic.
Oh man, I thought of that movie watching this one, because there's a moment where Robert Forster goes like, "Hey, leave me alone! I'm whacking off." That made me think of Charles Bronson's, like, "You use it for jerking off," or whatever he says. Like, it's such an insane movie. I had a great time watching that one. I was looking over the filmography. I'm realizing the only Michael Winner film I think I've seen is Scream for Help.
And you only watched Scream for Help
because you put me on that one. Yeah, you put me on that one, and I was like, this thing is wild. Yeah,
Caroline, I assume you've seen Scream for Help.
I
right?
haven't seen Scream for Help, but I know Scream for Help.
Oh man,
yeah, that one.
I gotta see that. I gotta catch up with that one.
That was pretty fun. But yeah, so this is kind of operating in that kind of vein. I was also getting little notes of like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, with this opening scene, because we have these like incredibly cartoonishly evil thugs, you know, and they're all like swapping racial slurs and just being like all sweaty and gross, and they murder Nancy Kwan's young son and her husband, and then they leave her, and that kind of triggers the entire movie, where it's just like a really fun kind of concept for a movie. Like, this is kind of like the Double Dragon approach to filmmaking, where you're fighting through different, you're beating your way through the streets and then like advancing through different tougher bosses, right? Trying to get to Joe Spinnel, who's like the big boss of the entire thing.
Yeah, but as a Revenger, it's kind of interesting, because it starts out with Mrs. H going on her, revenge quest, but then it turns into Joe Spinnell's revenge quest against her. So it's like a double Revenger. And
that was kind of my issue with this movie, like where they sort of lost me, which is that like they sidelined Nancy Kwan pretty quickly. Like, I thought this was going to be like this bloody like rampage of revenge, and like, she's the badass like woman with nothing to lose, and Robert Forster's just along for the ride. And they really shifted away from her, and they kind of like put her, she's kind of stuck puttering around the apartment most of the movie.
Not answering the phone.
Not answering the phone, which would drive me insane. Like, that's a psychological tactic that would work on
hiding from that very strange landlady or whatever she is that they keep calling a peeping Tom. I've never heard a woman referred to as a peeping Tom, but they multiple times they refer to her as that.
It's a classic like busybody trope, which I haven't really seen in a movie in a while. Where just like the neighbor lady who just can't keep her nose out of everybody's business. Really fun, and she unfortunately does not live through the movie.
No,
but I don't know. I think that was kind of my issue. Like Forster's really great. He's very like kind of manic, and we get that he is like, he's pretty down on his luck. Like he's got like a charisma and energy to him, but this guy's kind of a loser. He's failed out of his baseball career. He's failing out of his cab driving career. He's kind of like in debt with all these gamblers and all these like sleazy guys.
Failing out of his relationship.
He's being very early on cucked by his wife or girlfriend, whoever that is.
A very Wild Bill moment, from Boogie Nights, just like and he's like, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, and then he just leaves.
5 minutes is not very long.
No, but it's still like that's fairly generous, for him like coming and being angry.
That was
It's
pretty
like, okay,
flagrant. Yeah,
I'm going to wait out here for 5 minutes, maybe 10. Fine, 2 hours. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to go. You can have that.
Another interesting thing about Robert Forster in this movie is he's wearing, I want to say, like sweatpants through the entire thing until the final act when he finally puts on a pair of Levi's.
Yeah, that's how you know he's
and
like
that's he
serious.
means business.
That's his battle armor. Yeah,
it changes his entire demeanor. That's when he's like finally, like running his numbers with with a backbone.
Yeah, that's him. Like, his scary alter ego is the one that wears jeans,
and he's surprised with himself. He like gives a little look like, ooh. Do you remember that moment?
I should wear jeans all the time.
Yes.
I don't know why my Forster impression is very Chicago, and I know that's not where he's
he has like a really charming Midwest accent. He is from, I think he is medium cool is Chicago.
Oh, really? See, I thought he was
filmed
New York,
during the Democratic National Convention in Chicago when all that crazy shit was happening.
Oh, right.
That's the whole thing. Medium cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so my Forster. Yes, my Robert Forster. Robert Forster is a similar origin story to my wife in that he came to New York City by way of Rochester, New York.
Oh,
and
sorry. Okay.
So Rochester has that kind of accent.
Okay.
Like his is definitely exaggerated though, because I did find myself there's certain people, whether it's like Forster, because you can definitely get like a Chicago accent going there. It's like anyone from the Second City or like Dennis Farina or Dennis Franz or any of those guys, when you hear like his Forster's not far off from those. And I think that's just kind of like, I guess that's like a Great Lakes type accent,
it's a very,
for lack of a better description.
Salt to the earth way of speaking.
Yeah. No, he's just got he's got a real like kind of blue collar like vibe to him. And I think anytime I'm doing the voice, he's got a very distinctive voice. And I've heard just like through different like podcasts and different people who've worked with him and different like friends of friends who are connected to him, who all say he was just a mensch. He was just like the sweetest guy. He got everybody like a rap gifts after every movie, which is like, he does a lot of movies, so that's a pretty sweet guy. And he seems cool. And I think it helps with a character like this, who is like so kind of mired in the muck and is kind of such like we said, he's kind of a cuck. It helps that he has like this inherent goodness in him. Like this actor has this inherent goodness that we do kind of root for him, even when he's getting into some pretty nasty shit. Yeah. Like when he starts going on his murderous rampage at the end of the movie, like he jams a knife up a guy's butthole. And that's an extreme move. That's a very extreme move to kind of pull on somebody for your first like murder spree.
It's I'm glad you put that fine of a point on it, because it's not the most graphic scene that it could be for what's happening there.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't show the knife going, but that is what's happening there.
It's
wild.
He seems pretty seasoned for somebody who is flipping out for having witnessed their first murder shortly before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very prepared to do that.
He's passed all his prerequisites. He's into advanced revenge, and he's. And I think, Steve, I was very much on board for this movie for basically its entire runtime, because it is just the type of movie I love.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying about where the movie might have lost you, because this is maybe reductive and silly, but the idea that it is initially Nancy Kwan's revenge story and not Robert Forster's, even though he is the guy pointing the gun on the poster, is such a fun selling point. And I the part of me wishes that would have been the dynamic for the whole movie,
right?
Where it would have just been like her being like a badass and taking revenge on all these people, and him just kind of along for the ride, being like an accessory to her revenge. The fact that it shifts perspectives a little bit and not double crosses per se, but different revenges, loses me, I think, narratively a little bit, as much as I'm kind of okay with just living in the aesthetic of the movie
That's
for
the thing. Like
another 5 hours if I had to.
we've covered other movies like this, and there are a lot of like okay, Savage Streets is a good example, a movie that like didn't really work for me. Like, and I think it was because like
That's
in
a nasty
between,
movie.
it's nasty, and then in between these bursts of like kind of manic energy, there's just like a whole lot of feet shuffling, you know, there's just a whole lot of like narrative shoe leather that doesn't ultimately matter. It's just we have to get this thing to 6 reels or whatever, you know. It's and I feel like this movie suffers with a little bit of that, but it didn't have as much of a problem with it. Because the actors are all about very high caliber, they're all really interesting to look at, and the plot ultimately didn't really matter that much. But they found some incredible characters in here. I'm really curious who this guy Russ Courtney is, who plays Leon, like the pool shark, like mob boss guy. He gets the introducing credit in this.
Yeah,
he has one and only film credit, and that is this. I wasn't able to find anything else about him, but holy shit, that guy's got a face. Like, what an amazing, this guy should have been playing like the heavy in every other like exploitation film through the rest of his life. Like, and I thought he was good. Like, he's intense and he's weird, and he seems like he's actually lived in this world.
He's got a face, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, in his 2 scenes, he does make an impression.
He absolutely does. And I was like, where's more of this guy? Like, I'm curious why he walked away. I'm if anybody out there listening knows the deal with this guy, Russ Courtney, let us know, because I'm very curious. I don't know if he's still alive or anything, but I would imagine.
He had a great face.
Yeah. And just a great mane of hair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Luxurious. How did you like the scenes inside the punk rock nightclub?
Pretty great. I think both of us like kind of came up a little bit in like the punk and metal scene, at least when we were in high school. And so I was getting nostalgia for it. Like, this is before my time, but like I hung out in a lot of like, you know, grungy little punk clubs in small town America.
Me too.
Yep. No, I mean, you can have a scene take place in one of these clubs, and immediately the movie gains an extra star.
Oh, yeah.
Letterboxd rating.
It gets the punk rock nightclub.
Even when it's something like, you know, we've already talked about New Year's Evil, and that's a movie that doesn't really understand what punk rock is, because it's like this punk club, but it's like Leather Tuscadero from Happy Days is this DJ, and then it's all of these bands that are kind of more hair metal sounding than punk. It doesn't really make sense, but the look is, which is crazy, because I mean,
they're mixing up their decline of Western Civ movies.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite details from the punk rock nightclub, you know, a couple of scenes that take place there, is I don't know if you noticed Joe Spinnell's pink feather earring he's wearing at one point, which is very fashion forward. No, I really liked that.
I will say too, just for people who want to check this movie out, it's out of print for a long time. It is available on YouTube. It's in its entirety, and it's a pretty good like picture and sound quality, but my version was missing scenes. I don't know if we watched the same version. Like, there were some like awkward cuts, and it wasn't like made for TV cuts or anything.
Well, it's missing a sex scene.
It is.
Is that what was cut?
I have it on disc, so I rewatched my Blu-ray, and then this morning I watched the YouTube version, and it is missing the sex scene, the scene where there's cutting between the love scene and the torture of the what is his friend's name? I can't remember. The guy in the yellow T-shirt.
A. Martinez. I forget his character's
A. Martinez's
name,
character. They call him Geronimo, but that's really his name.
Yes.
So Geronimo. And it also has like a weird like contemporary music dubbed over at one point.
Thank you. Okay, I was gonna say I was not clear if like there was a YouTube ad like playing over that scene when I was watching it. Like, I knew there was just some kind of glitch, because I was still seeing the scene, but I'm like, this music sounds way too like crisp and modern for what they're going for. Here.
It's when he's carrying Robert Forster's carrying Nancy Kwan to bed. But there's a great Blu-ray by Fun City Editions which is such an amazing Blu-ray label, and they've put out so many good films, and I highly recommend that disc, which is what I have. And it's still available. You can buy it right on their website.
Awesome.
Not that it's time to. I feel like we haven't finished talking about the movie, and I'm already plugging Fun City Editions.
No, please. Yeah, it's a struggle we run into a lot on this show, especially with these like early Empire pickup movies, which were mostly just kind of released to a very early form of VHS, or in some cases just to Betamax, and never survived when that format died off. So this one is definitely easier to watch than a lot of movies we've tried to track down. You don't need to go to Daily Motion and suffer through whatever they're doing, but
right.
Yeah, you can find a pretty decent copy on YouTube, but it's still it's a compromised quality still.
Yeah, it's mostly there.
Yeah, I would recommend getting that disc. I mean, I don't own it, but I think I'm going to end up buying it just to have it, because I'm getting more into boutique physical media of late anyway. And it's just like, this is the kind of thing where like this edition could be the last version of this movie that exists.
It probably will be.
Yeah, it'll be gone after that. And I think of like, other people who are out there doing, like, we ran into similarly trouble finding Enemy Territory when we did Enemy Territory. And now I think 101, or no, is it Arrow? Arrow is putting out, but it's a region B, I think only in the UK, but I'll have a region free player soon. So that's not a huge deal, but I'm going to grab that disc also.
Is that the one with Jan Michael Vincent?
Yes.
Yeah. And Ray Parker Jr. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Fun movie. And very early, I think first or second Tony Todd film. No, this was post Platoon. So it's like the second Tony Todd film, which is really cool to see. He's the leader of the vampires. Yeah. And I think this movie doesn't have a whole lot to talk about narratively, because like once we get to this point where he intervenes in Nancy Kwan's life and decides to start helping her, like she kind of gets sidelined. There's definitely like a love story brewing between them.
Yeah.
That's I thought they had genuine chemistry, and I think both of them are good enough actors that, like, there's a scene where they're like applying ointment to each other that's like kind of tender and kind of nice. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. This is.
He has like the baseball injury ointment.
Yeah. He just kind of like, it's a cure all for her hubcap
for sliding bruises. Yeah, whatever happened to her.
She got frisbeed with a hubcap. Yeah.
Is that what happened?
That's yeah. She gets she does get frisbeed with a hubcap. You're absolutely right. One of my favorite characters and character types in this particular movie is the character of Delia, played by an actor named Frankie Hill, who basically performs the role of exposition hooker.
Oh yeah, she's incredible. She's just she's the Greek chorus kind of.
Yeah,
exactly. And I love that. And I didn't put two and two together. She has a small role in War Games, but she is one of the paramedics. I think it's a paramedic, or maybe it's an EMT. I always confuse who does which job, who brings Jason Voorhees' body to the morgue in the beginning of Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, she looks familiar to me, and I couldn't figure out where, but I was cracking up at like that plot, that device of how to deliver information is just have her come sit in the passenger seat and just regurgitate a bunch of stuff and then get out of his car. Right.
Moving on with life. That. It's great to establish that he is like this man of the people who knows everybody on the streets and everything like that, but so there's a lot of like padded out kind of moments like that in this, but you're spending it with like these really distinctive, interesting looking character actors, and if you're not like fully involved in the goings of this movie, you are fully involved watching these people do their thing, like watching Joe Spinnel throw a punch at Wayne Woodson in a batting cage.
That's a great scene.
Like, watching Joe Spinnel swing a baseball bat in a batting cage, like, oh man, worth the price of admission right there.
Lest you think that character has a sense of humor about himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just really interesting little character touches like that. We're spending more time with the villains than we do with movies like this usually, where they're usually very. Yeah. I'm not going to say these aren't one-dimensional villains, but they're more distinctive. They're colored out. even if they are playing
Right.
kind of
They're
broad,
kind of
like,
always
crazy guy
just
tropes.
yeah, they're kind of always just bad, but we
Right.
are getting a lot of like the BTS with them.
Yeah.
I was
Specifically the
convinced.
Korean boy band. Yes.
Yes.
We're getting a lot of that. Yeah. Most of the members of BTS got their start in this movie, which is a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I was convinced that the one guy, I forget the name of the character, but the one with like the floppy blonde hair. I was convinced that
Jimmy,
that he was
kind of like a Cabbage Patch face.
He does very much have a Cabbage Patch face. I was kind of convinced that he was the guy in the Warriors who's on roller skates and overalls, but it is not him.
Okay.
He reminds weirdly.
He has a familiar looking face.
He reminds me of kind of like a Mystery Science Theater version of Sasha Jensen from Dazed and Confused, and that's a reference for like 5 people, but I think I nailed it.
It's funny that you say Mystery Science Theater because he's kind of like that guy from Dazed and Confused mixed with Arch Hall Jr.
Of EGA fame.
A mainstay of.
I kept thinking of Zap Ramsdower also. Yeah, there were
Zap Ramsdower. Yeah,
Zap Ramsdower. Excuse me.
What a pull, Arch Hall Jr. I did not think we'd get an Arch Hall Jr. pull in this episode. I'm really thankful for it because it just makes me think of that when he's singing the song to the girl by the pool in EGA, and there's just like
Cabbage Patch Elvis.
Yeah, Cabbage Patch Elvis. And I just remember like there's a close up on him, and it's just I think it's Joel who's like, sorry about my face.
Oh my God. I can't believe I missed my opportunity to do a Thanksgiving binge of that. I gotta do that again sometime. I'll make it a Christmas tradition now.
Yeah, there's another.
Yeah, we didn't do it this year either. And that's always been a go-to for me, Turkey Day.
Yeah.
Another notable small role in this movie is Erica Wells, who's Julia, the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
she's in Sharky's Machine. Do you know that
Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, the Burt Reynolds movie.
Okay, I was wondering who she was because she comes in is just like pure sex pot for like 15 seconds. It's like wow, this is an incredibly beautiful, distinctive woman.
Yeah,
gone.
I wrote in my notes.
Never see her again.
Yeah, she really is. I mean, she like comes back briefly. I just wrote in my notes, bartender Ms. Jugs.
Ms. Jugs. She won the prestigious Miss Jugs title. That's great. That's great. I'm so glad the Pulitzer Committee decided to add that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very kind of them. Very inclusive.
That's really funny. I was going to make a joke, and I was going to be like, I thought Zoe Lund was Miss Jugs. No, you know who else is in Sharky's Machine? I mean, now that we've gone completely off the rails in terms of just like making these connections to things, one of my favorite genre performances, which is beamed in from outer space, is an actress named Carol Locatell, who plays Ethel, the redneck mom in Friday the 13th 5.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
She is the one who has the son Junior, who's wearing like a pilot's cap, who gets decapitated on the motorcycle.
Right.
But she's yelling at all the kids at the halfway house because they're on her property, and he's just parroting her, and her performance is so fun and over the top. And I feel like the only other movie I ever saw that lady in is Sharky's Machine.
I've been meaning to go through because Burt Reynolds is a bit of a gap for me too, and I want to see more early Burt Reynolds movies.
I'm sorry, Steve. His name is Turd Ferguson.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I misread the screen. I've recently been doing like the Smokey and the Bandit movies, and it's like, man, the gap in quality between Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2 is staggering and dizzying, and just kind of like that should be a textbook for like how not to do a sequel, like how to absolutely like suck all the joy out of a sequel, because that first movie is such a delight. And that second one is
the first one Hal Needham also?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He was cooking, it was just working. And it's like you watch Burt in that movie as like the most effortlessly cool human being who ever lived. And then you watch him in the second one and he is so thirsty. And he is begging everybody to.
I've never seen it, but that is not how you want to see Burt Reynolds. That's not.
No,
that's not him.
He's like going around like he doesn't. The Bandit doesn't go around going like, "Look at me, look how cool I am," until the second one, and then he's like, "Hey, everybody, cheer for me!" It's like, dude, shut up.
He doesn't. He shouldn't need to do that.
Boner killer, absolutely.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
I want to just point out one thing about this movie that I find to be really interesting. I mean, if we're talking about Norbert Meisel and like if we want to bring it back to Savage Streets again and talk about Danny Steinman to tie it together to Friday the 13th 5, it's so interesting. I guess the clear path from like softcore movies into exploitation revenge movies. Like these guys, they just have that similar career trajectory where it's like you can sort of, you're on the docket for making an exploitation movie if you have a propensity to bring, couples of actors together. And it's like to have these kind of, I think the scenes where Nancy Kwan and Robert Forster together work pretty well. And it's like, there's just this odd overlap. And I know they're not the only two where it's like, if you look at their career trajectory, it's like, okay, they made these exploitation movies in the 80s. Okay, go back 10, 15 years. What were they making? Like softcore movies.
Totally.
So I'm just really interested in that like career trajectory. Like what is it about the way that these people make movies that they're then brought these projects? Like, I don't know how this was developed. I don't know if this was something that Nancy Kwan was signed on to do and then campaigned for her husband to direct. Like, I don't really know that information, but I just find it interesting that this is another person with that, similar to Danny Steinman, of having worked in, I mean, Danny Steinman might have, something like High Rise and another movie he made, that might not have even have been softcore. That might have actually just been a legitimate hardcore porn.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of crossover, and it's funny. Like, it's always interesting to see I think you can kind of map the evolution of film alongside like the pubescent cycle, right? Like as we're growing as people, like early Hollywood is very much more innocent, much more exploratory. Then you enter kind of the hooray for Hollywood phase for a long time. By the time you're in the 70s and 80s, you're an angry young adult and you're experimenting and you're like trying new things and you're pushing your boundaries. And that's kind of where these movies sort of fall into it, but it's still being controlled and gate kept in a way like adult films. It's relegating these things down to kind of these lower levels of society that we're not supposed to be looking in. We talked about it with film gore, but it's kind of like the brown paper bag sort of mentality of like, you're watching something that you shouldn't be watching. There's that prurient thrill that you're getting out of engaging in your basest sort of human nature. And I think that it serves a valuable purpose. And I think this movie is, I think, a step above something like, that's not just like a pure exploitation film. I think it's trying to do something a little bit more intelligent. Whether it's successful or not is up for debate. I think it's got a lot of strengths and a lot of weaknesses, but it's living in that space and it's trying to explore it in an interesting way.
Yeah. I think it's moderately successful, probably on the back of all of these distinct looking and clearly identifiable and interesting to watch character actors who are pulling this off. I mean, more so than other movies. I think there are other revenge movies that work, maybe a little bit more narratively. Like, I don't know, have you ever seen this one? Have you ever seen the movie from 1983 called Self-Defense?
I haven't.
No.
So Self-Defense is a really funny movie. It was re-released, and I know you can find it on, and I'm going to say two words that I really love because I think they embody the spirit of not only this movie but movies like this, and where you can find them in one place. It's on Night Flight.
Oh, okay.
And
that's all you need. Yeah.
This is a Night Flight ass movie.
Yeah.
Night Flight is awesome.
Yeah, and so it's on Night Flight as Siege.
Okay.
But it's called Self-Defense from 1983, and it's kind of a crazy one where a bunch of like homophobic like sociopaths go and disrupt like a gay bar. And the one guy who escapes from it then has to run through like a giant apartment complex. I'm pretty sure it's a Canadian film.
Yeah.
Okay. Like tax shelter style.
Yeah. but that movie is really good. I mean, you have like Tom Skerritt in Fighting Back, or James Brolin in Night of the Juggler.
Oh,
So
yeah.
movies like that.
I feel like Walking the Edge and Night of the Juggler is a good double feature.
I was confusing it for a second when you said self-defense. I was trying to remember the title of the movie, but are you familiar with Surviving Edged Weapons?
No.
Okay. Look this thing up. It is an
like
insane police training video that they let somebody make in the 80s, and
oh my God.
one of the most hyper violent, insane things you've ever seen, while also just being a straightforward like training video. It's crazy.
Okay.
I think you could probably find that somewhere, but that's what it made me think of. Like, you talk about self-defense. I'm like, oh, is that, or are we talking about the same movie?
Surviving Edged Weapons. That
Surviving
alone.
Edged Weapons. Yeah, it's
I'm already just bracing myself for that.
I mean,
yeah, it's credited as a documentary
out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, it is something else. I think you can find the entire thing on YouTube somewhere, but
okay,
it's kind of become like this found footage sort of like phenomenon, or like this, the found footage fest. I think it was where I first heard of it.
I will be watching that tonight.
All right, and let me know what wine pairs with Surviving Edged Weapons.
Oh well, yeah. Well, we can talk about what wine pairs with this movie.
Yes, I think that was reached the point where we need to.
That's a good transition.
It is.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear this.
Yeah, well, there's a scene where he points out the bottle of wine that he has brought back to the apartment, and he wants Nancy Kwan, Mrs. Holloway, to drink some wine to, I guess relax her nerves. And he opens the bottle of wine and he says, have some wine. It's sweet. He says it's sweet.
Okay.
And kind of interesting to say that, because in the 1980s, the palate for sweeter wines would have been more of a taste for that sort of in the marketplace. Now we like dry wine. Sweet wine is just like rot gut. But
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, but at the same time, any sort of, let's say, like mass industrially produced wine that you get at the grocery store, like your Yellowtails.
Okay.
A Sutter Homes and Findel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are going to have some sort of sugar of some sort added, because wine, regular wine is going to taste different every single year depending on the weather, any of the conditions that affect the way a wine tastes. But these big box sort of grocery store wines, they want to taste consistent. The customer wants it to taste the same every time they buy it.
Right.
So they add things to make sure that there's a consistent product. And I think that is the kind of sandbox that Robert Forster's character would be playing in. He's getting the bottle of wine that costs $3.50 in early 80s dollars.
Oh, okay. So not even
so
like
a little
modern,
bit sweet,
like $3 chuck, like a Trader Joe's style or anything, but this would be...
I think the pairing for this would be like whatever you can grab on the run. You're not making a special trip.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pairing Walking the Edge with some Chateau Diana.
Exactly. Chateau Diane.
With
if
some
you're in
Mad
New York,
Dog 4040.
other places you could grab like a Yellowtail at the corner store, but since we're in New York and there are very strict liquor laws, you are going to need to do the Chateau Diane.
See, I was just going to pair this with green buzz balls. So yeah, this is better. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I'm glad we arrived in that same place, because I was going to say you pair this movie with a wine product.
This is a wine product.
Yeah, with a wine-related liqueur.
I'm pretty sure what he brought back was a wine product.
Oh yeah.
And I think that wine product was acceptable to serve at your table in 1983.
Absolutely. That's incredible. I love this whole entire concept. This is so cool. And I love that we were able to find something that actually pairs with this movie.
I would never pour a wine product at any of my screenings, just so you know.
Oh God, no.
Very, very good wines.
We've passed on I think the age of the wine product is has gone the way of Walking the Edge.
People still buy it, but nobody that I know.
Yeah.
Listen, there was a time in our lives when we were not above Boone's Farm.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no.
Of course.
Seriously, like I can't even drink like white wine anymore because it's just like a blast of sugar to the head anymore.
We'll have to talk about that another time.
Give me an Argentinian Malbec, and that's, I'm gonna pairing that with everything. I'm not super picky. I just like a good, like, rich red. But that's me.
I messed. This is something that I'm going to keep really brief because it would be very easy for us to go entirely off the rails and off topic here about this. But I had the misfortune of working in like fine dining, and so I developed a taste for like really sort of heavier, like new world wines, but very like expensive ones.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, you're going to bring a bottle to my house party? Great. I would like you to bring like a 2013 a nickel and nickel Cabernet, and I will accept no less than that. Like
Camus.
Okay, yeah, it's like, I want a Camus Magnum, nothing else.
I've fallen fully into the second cheapest wine bubble. Like I am going to get whatever I'm going wine. I'm going to get whatever the second cheapest is, and I think I need to learn to be more discerning.
I hate to hear people say that they don't like white wines. I next time, let me know when you're coming to New York. I'll taste you through some really nice white wines.
I'm going to take you up on this. I would like to.
I'll teach you how to love them.
I would like to be brought back into the fold. Yeah, I would love to.
We'll get Steve on a Sauvy B.
Oh, there we go. Well, Caroline, this was amazing. Thank you so much for being here, lending your expertise, and just being a delightful, engaging guest. Where can people find any of your stuff if they want to go check out a wine pairing, or if they want to see anything else that you're working on?
So, for the moment, Terror Terroir sort of lives on Instagram. I'm trying for that not to be the case going forward. I don't want people to have to be on social media to attend the screenings. But you can find me at Terror Terroir, all one word, on Instagram. That's TerrorTerroir. And you could also email me at terrorterroir1@gmail.com. Screenings take place at Film Noir Cinema. They're always on the calendar. If you were to email me, if you see that there's a screening coming up, I would put anyone on the list early that gets in touch with me via email. Ooh. Just putting that out there for anyone listening. The screenings are very popular. They sell out very quickly. I announce them a month before they happen. And the next one is, well, when this releases, the next one will be February 6th.
February 6th. And you revealed the movie on the night of, correct?
On the night of, yes.
Okay, all right. So people are
so when this airs, when this airs, anyone listening can look on Instagram on January 6th at noon, and I will drop the RSVP line, and they can DM me to get on the list for the next screening at Film Noir Cinema, or they can email ahead of time, and I'll give them the VIP treatment.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to prioritize that next time I get to come to New York, because this sounds like so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. People have responded really well to the series, and going to keep it going. It's a great time. I love doing it.
Yeah, listeners, this sounds right up the alley, I'm sure, of anyone who's listening to the show. So definitely go to Terror Terroir on Instagram and look ahead for these upcoming screenings and RSVP so that you can, secure yourself a spot. I'm sure the pairing is going to be something that you love. If you love what we do every single week, the best way to show us is to go on whatever podcast app you're using, drop us a 5-star rating, maybe a brief review if you feel so inclined to do so. It just helps us, show up in more people's searches and algorithms and all of that stuff. If you want to keep up with what we're doing kind of on a daily basis, you can follow us on Instagram at puppetmasters_castlefreaks. You can follow me at _Giallo_Jared. You can email us at puppetmasterscastlefreaks@gmail.com with any questions or comments or feedback, whether it is constructive or otherwise. We will listen to it. But we'll eventually have more stuff besides the audio on YouTube, maybe, and there'll be some stuff on Blue Sky, but it's a lot. And Steve has another show that he would also like to take this time to promote. So, Steve, what else have you got going on?
Well, I also host a show called Cinema Arcade. That is one word, cinema and arcade mashed together. That's what we do. We are watching movies and then playing the video games based on those movies to see how they contrast, compare, enhance, detract from each other. We've been having a lot of fun doing holiday-themed movies all month long in December. And then January is going to be dedicated entirely to the 1999 Mummy franchise. So we're talking about the 3 Brendan Fraser movies and then the Scorpion King starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson back when he was still Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Going to be a lot of fun. Chuck Russell movie. I always forget that that's a Chuck Russell movie. I love Chuck Russell. And that's kind of a fun, like, Death Stalker-esque kind of throwbacky sword and sandal movie. So excited to get into that. I'm also going to plug, I'm no longer on Instagram or like much social media at all, but I am on Letterboxd. If you want to check me out on Letterboxd, I'm still at Minotaur Matador. I've been on a quixotic quest to try and figure out exactly how many movies I've seen, and I'm using the stat tracker on Letterboxd to try and figure that out exactly. I'm pushing the 4,000s right now, and I don't think I've really hit everything yet. So I'm going to keep digging around in it, but I'm writing reviews. I'm logging a lot of movies. I'm having fun on there. So check that out.
Steve, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but can I ask you a question about your podcast?
Yes.
Why would you do that? And who would want to listen to that?
Inside joke. Inside joke.
That.
I had a nasty Thanksgiving encounter with somebody who kept grilling me on that and kept asking me, like, and wasn't just about that. It was about this show. It was about my job. It was about, like, he was just kind of a dick who didn't seem to understand why anybody would do anything. Yeah. He was doing that to all I have a friend who works at like a social services, and he's like, oh, wait. Explain this to me. Why would you do this? Like, it's like, dude, okay, calm down.
Curious what this guy does.
Drag this guy. But for more of that, or probably not, but you can tune into us next week, where we are going to be talking about another early 80s kind of pickup, kind of disaster film production. I'm curious to get into it. We're going to be talking about the 1983 film The Alchemist, which I believe was shot in 81, released in 83 in Europe, released in America in 85. And then now buried on Tubi in kind of the deepest, darkest places where film restoration does not seem to exist. So we're going to be talking about that. We've got an exciting guest for that one as well. And I'm excited to get into it. Very, very early Charlie Band directed film. So we'll see how that one holds up.
Yeah, well, thank you again to Caroline Johnson. Again, everyone go check out the Terror Terroir and get yourself on the VIP list for one of those screenings. And we will see you all next week for The Alchemist.